It was during lockdown. Let's see, last year when lockdown 1.0. My wife Maggie and the kids, they would sit down and she'd make them read the Bible together. So I sat down and I'd read with them, and we'd go through the passage, and then they're reading along. And after sort of 6 months of this, so I was like, okay, maybe there is something to this God. Maybe God, there is a God out there. He's not a figment of our imagination or something that's been concocted, but maybe he was a real entity. And then much later on, this year, there's an American preacher called Chip Ingram. I don't know if you've heard of him at all, but he's done various webinars and talks and things. And when I listened to this one about raising children, when I listened to it, we first listened to it, I thought, it might be good, because I might get some practical hints, and I'll ignore the theology stuff, and with probably some practical hints and stuff. And anyway, one evening, we'd had a fight about whatever it was. We can't even remember what it was about now. I suppose that's normal. But we'd gone to bed a bit grumpy at each other, and I'd put this thing on and just listened to it, so I was trying to put me to sleep. And he was talking about raising children, about bringing them up to be holy in the example of Jesus, and looking at the sort of discipline and but also the balance between love and discipline, and if it's too much love and not enough discipline, they go off the it was all that, and I fell asleep to that. But it spoke to me. There's something in it. It was just like, I can't really find the words, but there's something that just spoke to me. And I went the next morning, I got gone for work, and I was just hiding in Adeline's room where I was doing my work, and all the kids gone off to school and stuff. And a little later on, I went downstairs, and there's Maggie's in the kitchen, and I decided, it's time to just apologise, because to start the talk. And I started, I come down and, first apologised, and I was listening to Chip on this thing last night. And before I really got halfway through even through the sentence, this feeling inside of me was just so overwhelming, I just burst into tears. Just burst into tears with her, and Maggie just said, God's spoken to you, he's revealed himself to you. And just ever since then, I've just felt something inside. Wow. And I guess I'm here today. Partly because it's part of the path of being a Christian, I guess. It's the ritual sense. When obviously I spoke to Maggie, and I spoke to Matt Stark, about it a bit, and then I decided, I wrote to Dave Roderick, just to put on the line. And I just explained to him in my email, it's simply like I felt like I'm like a newborn deer. Right. I'm just standing, but my legs are still wobbly. And I just felt like I'm slowly growing. And it just, to me, just felt like, you know what, Jesus, God, probably it's time for me just to take that leap of faith and make that commitment, make that sort of public declaration. I believe I found Jesus, and he's spoken to me, and I want to carry on as I can in my own limited way of following in his footsteps. I can't quantify it, but it's certainly making a difference in my life. Maggie's saying that there's a definite change to how I was. I think my children, Eric and Adeline, are they are more, it's impacting them as well. And I think, if that's all that ever is, I think that's a bonus. But I find myself probably trying to have a conversation with him, with the Lord, more definitely more than I would have before. But it's given me something a faith in something to build on. I mean, other than, I mean, beforehand, like I say, I was dyed-in-the-wool atheist. You know, someone, I could probably have come up with 100 arguments for why there was no God, or why God, all this stuff is rubbish. But now, I'm thinking, okay, there's something other than the physical laws of physics to have faith in. There is that something extra to, and I think it's changed. Well, Maggie says it's changed me, and I hope it continues to.